Hi, this is Alan Brockstein of 420 Investor, and I want to take just a few minutes to give you an example of what I do every day, which is to focus on the key stocks in the cannabis sector. MJNA has been trading since 2009, and I've been following it closely since the beginning of 2013, being negative much of that time. I do two videos each day that run about 15 to 20 minutes where I cover the action on my focus list of 29 names. On the weekend, I do a 1 hour video where I go through each of those 29 names and share not only a technical perspective, but also kind of what's going on with the stock. So I wanted to give you just a little bit of a flavor for that today by looking at MJNA, which again, I'm not optimistic about, neither from a fundamental nor a technical standpoint. What I like to do is, as I walk you through the last couple of years of trading, you can see that the stock had a run up in early 2013, and that's about when I found the stock. Ended 2013 near the lows before taking off, after having taken off and avoiding closing at 10 cents, closed a little bit higher. I think it closed at, I want to say 16 cents was the close at year end, down from its 50-cent peak. We began the year 2014 with the Colorado uh, rocket ride, and of course MJNA had absolutely, well, very little, if any, exposure to Colorado. Certainly no exposure to legal cannabis there, but it got caught up with the rest of the crowd. If you've been following the market, you'll find it interesting that the stock peaked in January, whereas the rest of the market didn't peak till the end of March. I think people kind of figured out the game here. So what's going on now? I'm seeing the stock at an important technical level of about 12 cents. It broke it briefly yesterday. Uh, and that print last week actually wasn't real. So it's held 12 for a while. Let's switch to the daily look, and I'll tell you kind of what's been going on in my mind. We went and tested that 10-cent level, which is basically the low from last December. And then we took off as people started to focus on the election. And there were a lot of lower quality names like MJNA that got a big bounce. In fact, the stock doubled from the peak to the trough in front of the election. Remember, the election with Oregon and Alaska, obviously voting to legalize, D.C. as well, and Florida just marginally missing passing medical marijuana. And since then, the stock's been in decline. And here's what something you may not know. There was a lawsuit uh, brought against them that MJNA lost. And it turned out, I learned a couple of things from this. First of all, it appears that the company failed to disclose material information. They didn't tell anybody about this lawsuit. Second of all, the lawsuit revealed that there was convertible debt on their books, and I don't think this has ever been portrayed accurately. But third of all, and most important in the near term, those two are kind of longer term concerns. In the near term, the plaintiff, whose name is Bart McKay of Roan Ventures, he ended up receiving 45 million shares of MJNA. Now, that is a lot because the company has, it's hard to tell exactly how many shares they have now, but probably a billion, if not a little bit more. They recently went above their prior management imposed 950 million authorized share count, and they now have a 5 billion share count. And so at a billion, that would be 4.5% of the shares outstanding. So that there's no love lost between Bart McKay and MJNA, and I would expect that Mr. McKay, being a pretty sharp guy, will sell that stock as quickly as he can. Obviously, not wanting to crush the stock, but I think that's been putting some pressure on this stock. There's some other issues with MJNA. They lost their distribution partner, Canavest. This is quite a story because they spun out Canavest, yet somehow managed to blow that relationship. Blowing relationships is nothing new for MJNA because they used to have a relationship with Dixie Elixirs. Dixie Elixirs and MJNA, well, it's actually Dixie Brands, let's call it the right way. They created a joint venture called Red Dice, which was to use the Dixie brand for CBD only products. The settlement was that MJNA would keep that JV, Trip Keeper was allowed to go a separate way, given a 6 month non compete. I heard him speak just this week on an interview, and he has his CBD products ready to go in January. So, MJNA's distribution partner is a multi level marketing outfit that's focused solely on cannabis. It's called Canaway. So, I'm not sure that medical marijuana has much going for it right now. Uh, so that's kind of the view there. As I look at this chart, uh, it's funny, as negative as I am, I'm not going to predict that the stock price keeps falling. We are at a time of the year where there's a lot of tax loss selling going on, and I just mentioned this technical pressure. So I think my concern here is we could go back and if we, it looks like we're going to break this 12. We could go back and test that 10-cent level. Uh, I don't think the company's worth much more than nickel, but I've been saying that for a long time. I say that because they are diluting. This is in their pink sheet disclosures that their share count's going to be rising. So even at only 1 billion shares, which I think it'll be above that now, they are 50 million market cap, and I don't think the numbers justify that at all. But with that said, it's a seasonal time of the year, so uh, the stock could find a bounce off the 10-cent level. I don't want to get carried away. I think the real uh, message I'd like to leave with you about MJNA is there are better choices, and that's really the way I look at it. So if you like this type of discussion, and I have to say I try to be objective and provide information both positive and favorable, but when I find things that bother me, I'm not afraid to bring those up, and that's been the case with MJNA for quite some time, and that even the stocks I like, that's the case as well. You need to know both sides. So if you like this type of discussion, I welcome you to join our community. If you click the description, I am offering access for 2 weeks for just $4.20. That offer expires December 31st. I hope you have a great 2015. Thank you.